And to Anna's point there with price, I mean, the question is how much do we cost? And because we're a direct satellite operator, we can offer, our standing offer is to beat any match or to beat any price by 20%.
Okay, so you're basically saying that you're challenging people. You said like that you are going to be 20% cheaper.
Yes.
So basically, okay, challenge accepted, guys. Anybody listening? I want to see if he's going to do it. Let him keep me involved as well. If you do so, like, if you want, and Sydney, when we're editing this video, and Shorty, those are my video editors. Let's make sure that this is one of the things that we're going to put into the comments, into the caption. That if you want to challenge Darren and Mark, that they're going to be 20% cheaper than your current solution and better, because that's what they're saying, more user friendly, better and cheaper. That's the challenge. So you can send in your emails to Daryl and Mark, and they'll just come back with your offers. And if they don't do it, you let me know, and I'll invite them for a second session where they can explain how they couldn't do it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, we're doing another April Insights. And I must say, the last few ones have got great response and great reviews. So I'm very delighted to do this together with Daryl and with Mark today. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Yeah, K4 Mobility has been partnered with us for quite a while, and Daryl normally joins us for workshops all over the world where we walk around in our shorts and flip-flops and trying to get some knowledge over to the captains and crew, and now we're going to do it online. How does that feel, Daryl?
It feels great, except normally I'd have a cocktail in my hand while we discuss this, but no, this is great.
Yeah, I think last time we saw each other was in St. Thomas, right? A year ago.
It was a year ago, over a year ago. That's right.
Wow. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Good. Let me start with introducing the people that are with us. Well, K4 Mobility, Daryl talks about it a little bit more. What we're doing today is we're looking at innovative onboard solutions for managing connectivity. And Mark, we had a little bit of pre-chat that like connectivity in VZ is not particularly sexy or anything, but it's essential, isn't it?
It sure is, especially post-COVID. You can see that people rely on internet more than ever before. What they're asking for is resilient connectivity, and this is what we do at the core through software. So as far as the sexiness aspect of it, you can make anything sexy you want, but plenty of sexy things online to look at once you connect with us. So.
Okay, let's not go into that one, but that's absolutely true. No, I think like I was saying, like, and I told you guys before, like we believe that the crew, captain and crew, are the heart of the industry, right? They're the backbone of the vessel, but we know that connectivity on the vessel is so hugely important, and like, well, we don't always get the compliments if it works, but we definitely get the bashing if it doesn't work, don't we? Huh?
Yeah, you hear real quick if something's not working, that's for sure.
Yeah. I am together today with the two sales directors, Daryl and Mark. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself shortly?
Yeah, real quick. About 18 years in the yachting industry. Come from a commercial shipping background. Went to a maritime academy in Massachusetts. Love sailing. Pretty much was born on a boat in Croatia. And I have been marrying that with my passion for technology. So today I live in Palm Beach with my beautiful daughter and wife, and delighted to be here today and share some of my experience and knowledge in the industry.
Well, thank you for that. Daryl, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Daryl Matfin, been chasing the yachts for about 18, 20 years myself, and constantly seeking the next technology, right? It's kind of a passion. The family kind of hates that I get to go travel to do some of these wonderful places, and I've actually been kind of happy that I've been home for the last 12 months or so, but looking forward to get on the road again and sharing some of my experiences working for some of the top integrators in the world, and just passionate about the satellite industry in general. And K4 has given us and me and Mark the opportunity to share our experiences and really make changes to a stagnant industry. So
Well,
looking forward to sharing our information here.
yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about those changes and things, because I think that's the key word that we're talking about, right? So what are we doing today? Today we're going to have a chat about innovative internet technology, trends, updates, and how you guys are promoting it. For all of you, so I'm going to try to not make this too much of a promotional, because K4 obviously are great and they know that they're great. We're trying to really get some knowledge out to you. We're going to show you some nice little examples. So that's the idea behind it today. Agreed, guys?
Yep, agreed.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. You want me to fire up the presentation to get you guys going?
Yeah, no, that'd be great. We'll just do a quick
Yeah.
presentation on K4, and then do you change pages or do I change the pages?
Whatever you want. I'm here to help. So if you want me to change the pages, just ask me, or no, change the pages, please.
Yeah, go ahead and yeah, perfect. It was just a quick introduction on the whole core of the company, what we do and how we are addressing the current trends in the industry, right? High level trends are going to be Internet of Things, social media, and cloud-based usage tend to be the biggest consumptions of bandwidth and concerns. I think you've got some questions that we've asked some of the members here that we'd like to address. But if you skip through here, we'll start with some information on K4. It's the next page, please. Thank you. K4, as Mark and I have discussed, is kind of tackling the industry and changing the industry with a software platform, right? There's been numerous companies over the years that have focused this satellite technology and just getting a beam to the boat, and then the crew manages that beam. And our focus is a little bit more on how do you manage 5 or 6 different sources, whether it's LEO, cellular, LTE, marina Wi-Fi, point-to-point communication. So our bridge, our point, is to manage all those connection points and allow the user a higher priority or a better user experience on board. So just think of K4 as a software platform with the ability to manage all of those sources to deliver the best internet experience.
I just want to ask you, because I've seen Gogo in flight, and it's coming up in the next few sheets as well. I know it's a big thing, but for people who do not know that, that the team what's Gogo in flight, and why is it important for people to know that that's your background of a lot of the founders?
Yep. So the founders started Gogo in flight. So 17, 18 years ago, when aviation routes were starting to cross the globe, people wanted to communicate. They wanted to call home. They wanted to get on the internet. And the founders of our company were the pioneers of Gogo. Gogo created several terrestrial networks covering the U.S., Europe, and even when satellite became present, it started to do the air-to aviation, setting up those links. And over the years, they've set up millions and millions of dollars worth of contracts with our current partners today. So the founders have a great baseline for moving us into a premier position in the industry, right? We're kind of piggybacking on their existing relationships. The benefit is that we're not just Mark and I trying to sell you a pipe. We've got these founders on the next screen here that have 17, 18 years of technological experience and contract negotiations and earning money and getting investors to help us drive the mission to deliver the best internet experience on board. The team here, Michael, Anand, Rishi, Brian, they all come from Gogo. They departed Gogo maybe 3 years ago now. They started K4 as a opportunity to deliver a better internet experience. The yachting market to them was the easiest transition to make. They have FAA and aviation rules that kind of slow the process to introducing new products, and the maritime industry seemed to be in this mode of stuck, right? It's just there's a lot of companies that are out here trying to sell air, but they're not doing it in a professional or they're not focused on the client, right? They're focused on themselves. And so these guys came together. They started K4. They found Mark and I as seasoned maritime representatives in the company, and the mission here is to build a team around what the maritime side, build the software and the platforms that are going to drive us into even additional off-grid solutions, whether that's cruise, commercial avenues, and then even oil and gas, and eventually back into aviation, I suppose. But our primary focus is going to continue to be maritime.
Great, thank you.
The team here, myself, Mark, and Sato, we're all based in Florida. We've got several other employees coming online here in the next probably 30 days or so that are going to be all based in Florida. Mark and I have been with the company for about 1.5 years now, Sato for about 1 year. The core of the group is in Chicago, and there's about a team of 15 in Chicago. And as a software company, we do have several employees in India, and our team in India is probably made up of about 45. So as a company, again, the focus is not just on a couple of guys selling airtime. We've got about 50 or 60 employees that are focused on creating that change in the industry that's required. Let's shoot to the next slide here, Anno, and we'll get into a little bit more about our core focuses, right? Most companies today are going to be, they're going to provide VSAT and LTE services, right? They're just going to, maybe some will do both. Some will do one and partner with an LTE provider, right? So from our standpoint, we are combining both. We are going to provide all bandwidth services, whether that's VSAT or whether that's LTE services. And on top of that, the core that we've been discussing is the software platform, right? Because you want to have a utility on the vessel that manages that user experience. There are third-party applications that are available, Carrio, PepWave, that have paved the way for us. But our guys and ourselves, we think we can do it better. The primary difference between a PepWave and Carrio is that it's a commercial grade application or utility. It's been deployed for office buildings with hundreds of employees, and the support chain is generally, there's a professional IT manager that's managing the software and the setup of it. And we understand that the maritime industry doesn't employ IT managers as onboard vessel crew. Now, there has been some transitions lately with ETOs, and the knowledge base is certainly there to support this type of hardware. But our position is, let's build the application that these guys can learn to use quite easily. There's a support base behind it. They're not having to wait in a queue to speak to 30 or 40 other different technicians about a revolving problem, right? They're going to talk to one person, or they're going to talk to two people that have written the software. So in terms of us not being able to meet the mark on a particular feature set, if we put it into the feature queue, we can deploy a software revision usually in about 2 weeks. So again, if a purpose-built software application, we've got software on the boat. If there's a feature set that you're looking for, we add it to the queue, we prioritize it, and then we deploy it. So the whole company is focused on VSAT, LTE, and the software application to manage the user experience on board the vessel. Next slide. And keep going. So this is a little bit of our history. And again, I'll just kind of speed this up again because I want to get to some of the core issues that we're seeing. But as a company, we are a direct satellite operator. The difference between us and a standard operator is we have the unlimited capacity of the satellite operator, meaning that you're not waiting 7 days for an upgrade or 7 days for a downgrade. If a owner walks down the dock and you need airtime, In fact, this week we're deploying the ability to increase your airtime within our app. So the software utility has an app. Owner comes down to dock, ETO, captain, engineer, whoever's on the vessel, they can increase services within the app. You can see the service increase within an hour of being on board the vessel. So,
so what you like? Can I ask you something about that increase? So you basically, I understand what you're saying. Is it like so? What happens? I just go into the app and I ask for more bandwidth. If I ask for more data, what do I do?
yeah, there'll be plans. There'll be increased plans where you offer daily rates. The vessels all have different requirements, whether it's LTE only or VSAT only, or it depends on the location of where their charter is based or where the vessel is based. But the way the plans operate is, the vessel can sit on a monthly minimum plan as they sit at the dock. There's no reason for a 12-month requirement to pay $10,000 a month for bandwidth, because that's what the owner wants. What happens is the vessel will reside on a lower plan on a monthly fee, and when the owner walks on, they just bump it up, and they get their increase either on a daily capacity or on a weekly capacity or on a monthly capacity.
And it's just software as a service, just on the go.
On the go. Yep, that's right. So back to this slide real quick, and I'll touch on a few things. Is that as a direct operator, we're not waiting for, we're not sharing capacity, meaning like we're not buying a gigabyte of data, and then if Mark signs a client and I sign a client, we're sharing that gigabit of data. We're not watering it down. We just get more data, right? So there's no limitation on how much data is available to add customers or to provide for increases on the network.
Because are you basically saying there's unlimited data? Well, probably not, but there's enough to.
Yeah, VSAT is always going to be unlimited data. That's right. LTE, we have some restrictions, but VSAT will always be an unlimited data pipe. That's right.
Okay, perfect.
So on the slide here, you'll see a little bit of our history. Anna, if you wouldn't mind the pictures, just shrink them down just to our yeah, perfect. So the bottom represents, VSAT. We offer KU, geostationary. We're in agreements already with MEO, which is mid-Earth orbit, and LEO partners. As those services start to becoming available, we'll provide those services to you as the clients. We're a Inmarsat provider, so KA band is available. We've got other KA band opportunities that are coming online here soon as well. The hardware that you see in the middle bar here is the K4 Edge server. It's essentially just a 1U single server that's designed to operate our software. The HA version is a high availability. Larger vessels might choose this for redundancy. You've got a automatic failover for any. You could apply this to any vessel that is, VSAT and connectivity is a huge requirement, right? The HA mode is a perfect application. The one box will show you a video at the end here, but that one box takes your satellite modem, your LTE modems, and your Marina Wi-Fi and combines it into one 2U chassis box. That solution is a perfect solution for that mid-range vessel up to 60 meters, where you just plug it in and all your solutions are in a single 2U chassis. You've got quad LTE services for link bonding. You've got redundant modems and LTE. You've got redundant modems and VSAT. The opportunities here are wide open, and I would encourage you guys to ping us, email us, call us, just to see how we can custom tailor this box to fit your solution. The other two on the right here will be products that are announcing here in the next 2 months. So you guys are the early bird kind of notification here that the One Dome essentially is going to be a one box in a dome that will be available to the yachting market. This device will eliminate RF cabling, easy installation. You've seen a couple of dome products on the market today. Most are, built up with off-the-shelf components. They stick a dome on it, and they apply a maritime theme around it. And yeah, in some cases, it'll work. There's a lot of RF that has to be managed, and it's difficult to really see how well those products work. Ours is designed by the guys that built all the aviation antennas for air-to-ground technologies, and believe in directional patch antennas, and we feel that this solution is going to be a much better yachting grade solution. The other advantage is we're not locking a modem to an antenna. The competition seems to think that the crew has time to manage and swap SIM cards and move cables around if the antenna has blockage or if there's a cruise ship nearby. So the software inside is intelligent enough to say that, hey, there's blockage, and we need to look at the port antenna with this SIM card, because the service is much better. The more to come on that dome product. The product to the right of that is our Edge Advanced. That'll be a one box, a smaller one box. The difference between the one dome and the Edge Advanced and the one box includes the satellite modems. The one dome and the K4 Edge are just LTE only. So the requirement for VSAT is becoming less on a lot of the med-based boats because LTE is so strong. So we're really targeting the med-based boats with the one dome and the Edge Advanced as an LTE only service. It does, in both of those products do include our software, so you can still manage the existing VSAT on the vessel. And then go ahead and the top here is our software. We've got quite a bit of data that we're collecting and we're able to share with the users, and they can manage it, but I'll get into that in the next few slides here. So we'll skip over, we'll go to the next slide. And the K4 Edge, this is a presentation, or this is a brochure tech cut sheet that happy to email out to anybody that's interested. Again, this is reflecting the HA capabilities. It's got the software running on it. This service is designed to plug and play with your existing PepWave or your existing iDirect modems or VSAT solution. You just plug this device in, and this will replace the Carrio, or will add to the Carrio as an edge router, edge provider with our software solution. So the benefit of this is that, we want your airtime business, but you don't have to have K4 as an airtime provider. You can source this product, stick it in, and still use your current provider and have a much better bandwidth solution or bandwidth software utility on board the vessel. Next page. This is the one box. The difference here between the one box and the Edge is that all the modems and the GPS, the VSAT, the LTE are all built into the box. The software manages 12 SIM cards on the front of the box. So in this case, the software managing 12 SIM cards, you never have to touch a SIM card again. I mean, ideally, you stick 12 SIM cards in there and you can go around the globe, and the crew never has to move anything. It's all done by the software, which I'm getting to next. Next slide, we'll get into the software. I'll run through this relatively quickly. I see. So this is not an interactive, I get. Okay, understood. So if I move my cursor here, do you see my cursor, Ono?
No, I don't. Okay.
All right. So real quick, let's just see here. If you look at the top, we'll just run through this. Your vessel is identified across the top. You've got two versions. You've got a cloud-based version and you've got an onboard version. Cloud-based version obviously is that you have visibility anywhere you are. When you're on board the vessel, you're directly linked to the server and you have a little bit more control over the network. The next bar down here, we've got the time zone. This is a nice utility, so you can just set the time zone you're in as these vessels travel around the world. It's just a matter of being able to update the time zone with a drop down. Mm-hmm. The granularity of what you're looking at is in the next bar here. You can choose 15 minutes back to a 30-day history. So if you've got a, you want to see how much data you consumed in the last 2 weeks, you can look at the 30-day history, or if you have something that you feel is spiking the network, you've got this 15-minute granularity here that in the next software release will come down to a 1-minute granularity. So again, you'll be able to catch devices that are spiking your internet much faster with this type of granularity. On the left, you'll see your choices, right? So that image we showed you before that had you had multiple satellite operators, you had LTE. In this case, we're looking at two VSAT. We've got two LTEs and Wi-Fi. All of these are potential selections to deliver internet to the vessel. All of this can be quite confusing for a user that's got to come through and make a switch, right? They've got to go into a software solution. They've got to select, hey, I want to be on VSAT right now. And then they select VSAT, and then they hit apply, right? And then once they hit apply, then that device chooses the VSAT or is forced over to the VSAT solution. In this case, all of these green dots represent, these are active links. And these active links can be distributed real time to users. Example is going to be VSAT, right? Maybe your LTE signal is screaming fast. It's a much faster solution. So you leave the owners available on a bonded LTE link. So they've got the best internet source, and VSAT is dedicated to the crew, right? So the user has the better experience. All that is done within the software, and the priority. So most of the available technologies today are rate limiters or blockers, meaning that you establish rates and priorities that say this device has this much bandwidth allocated to it. The goal here for our software is to identify a priority user. Okay, so a owner comes on the vessel, and the second he comes on the vessel, his device is identified. He's a priority user. By him stepping on the vessel, the server recognizes that device is on the network. The crew now has lower priority, right? So then you have VIP. A VIP comes on. His device has a second priority. The crew now gets bumped down. To give you an example, we have a client that does homeschooling, right? So this client, he runs his business. He lives on the boat. He runs his business. He's got 3 kids on the boat that are homeschooling. And we've got priority rules in place that say, hey, priority 1 is the owner. Priority 2 is the daughter number 2 because she's the eldest. Priority number 3 is the middle daughter. And priority number, what number am I on? 3 or 4, who's watching YouTube, right? She's not doing class. She's not operating a business. So by priorities, the owner has first priority. The daughter has the highest priority, and the flow follows down. So where the engineer, ETO captain aren't having to come back into the software and say, oh, wait, this device needs this much bandwidth and this device needs this much bandwidth. It's all done based on priorities. So that's a huge differentiator between our software and what is available on the market today.
Daryl, Mark, how does that work with charter vessels that have changing guests?
It's the same thing. The device hits the network. There is some hand holding that has to occur. The device hits the network. The crew then has to identify which priority that device has. Okay, so obviously there's a hierarchy in how the charter guests are available. You can set similar priorities. You can say, hey, priority 2, priority 2, priority 2. They share similar resources. Priority 1 is the owner and or the ultimate person paying for the charter. Or again, those priorities can be established when they come on board the vessel. And once those priorities are established, that experience is shared across the vessel.
So we shouldn't advise, for example, if I'm a chief stewardess or a captain, I get new guests that I don't know yet, that I get talk to the ETO or the engineer and say, listen, these guests are coming, I've spoken to their owner's rep or the charter broker, and this is priority, so that we can, you've got it like set up before people arrive?
You can do that. The ideally though is you want to have the device, right? So the device, the IP is visible on the network. You identify the device on the network, and then you set the priority based on the device or the user, right? You can assign a user password, right? So when they get the network, you give them a priority 1 password. Any device that they bring on, if they log in with that priority 1 password, then that user has the higher priority.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
If I can add to that, it's all about setting the expectations, right? Understanding, what kind of guests are coming on board. And after that, the standard business practice is that they get access to a particular network. And that particular network is set up in such a way that gives them more or less access. And this is what the engineer or ETO basically control. And they can go even further. They can basically shape bandwidth, especially when it's scarce. And make sure that the flow is as efficient as possible based on the application. So this is key too, right? You don't have to get in there and just get involved in the minutia of managing every bit and byte coming through. You just set the applications according to the guest user experience, like going back to the expectations that they have. And then that the system is going to be prioritizing that user, that device, for that application, especially if it's business critical. This is something that you probably want to, set straight from the get-go.
Yeah, identifying charter guests that are doing business while they're supposed to be having a cocktail, like we have our priorities set right on them. I mean, we tend to.
We have got them set. Although you're always on your phone while we're drinking cocktails.
Yeah, that's the idea. Make it look like I'm busy. No, the run through a couple other things here on the software is that, you've got full visibility. And then the one thing I want to identify is that this is an app, a user app, right? So, and the user app, a lot of the vessels don't operate an ETO, right? They'll have an engineer, they'll have a captain that's, he's running around putting tenders in the water. He's tending to the charter guests. And, he's got one person that says, hey, the internet's not working. He doesn't have time to stop what he's doing, run back to his desk and open up the utility and see what the problem is. The app is on his phone, and the stewardess can manage it. We've got it built to a platform to where if somebody has a phone that's operating the app and they've got authority to use the app, they can look at what's going on. There's visibility to the entire crew. So we've got firewalls in place. We can set. Again, we can be a rate limiter and blocker. So for those guys that really want to have full control and manage the network, we've got it built in. That we're not saying you can't have both, right? So that's the benefit. Is that yes, we've built in the rate blockers and limiters, but we believe the industry is really looking to change. This is one of the changes we're making. Is that we want automation. We want the device to be smarter. And by making this device smarter and setting the priorities, that automatically gives the users a better experience.
Well, we don't want to, in the old days, what happened if a guest didn't get enough bandwidth, they went to the stewardess or the deckhand, they had to radio up the engineer. The engineer had to go in somewhere downstairs, and then by the time he sorted it, the guest was unhappy already.
Yeah, and to that point, most of us carry an iPhone or an Android. Right. Yeah. And we walk through the city and we go into a restaurant, we connect to the Wi-Fi and we're on a WhatsApp call and we're communicating, and then we pay the bill and we get up and we walk away. And as we're halfway down the street, we're still talking to that person, right? There's the little device in our hand has just logically made the decision to switch from Wi-Fi to LTE, and it does it automatically. We don't even think about it, right? It just happens. And on a boat, you still don't have a lot of that control. If you're leaving the marina, you're on Wi-Fi. As you pull out of the marina, you lose Wi-Fi. You switch over to LTE. As you get offshore, you get outside of tower range, you want to switch over to VSAT. Yes, there's different latencies involved. There's different speeds involved. But the point here is that the user doesn't know doesn't realize that the call that the source has changed, right? Whether it's
and they don't want to realize. They just want to get on like it's a commodity, right? It's just like expected to be there.
Yep. So real quick, just to rest on this page, the home page gives you what your instant visibility. You can see the usage. You can adjust VLANs, see what internet source is working. The account page, you can see what your current plan is on. You can see you have visibility into how much consumption you have. If you're LTE, you've got LTE. What plus overages, unlimited LTE is available. It's fairly restrictive. I mean, the way we operate is slightly different. I'll get into that here in a little bit later, but we can skip over to the next slide. This is essentially the VLAN page. So here again, you can see a device user, MAC address, IP address. There's edit, pause, and details. You press the details page, you can kind of see a little bit of what that user is, where his bandwidth is being consumed. In this case, you've got the top three here are, we don't want this, right? This is stuff that's consuming bandwidth. It's not necessary. It's just stuff that is, you've got a limited pipe on VSAT, and this is just consuming bandwidth and creating a clog in the slowdown in the bandwidth. So you've got the ability to pause these devices, right? So here's a pause button. You take this device right off the network until you can shut down these devices, shut down these applications, or again, back to the priorities, you set certain priorities for different applications, whether it's cloud-based or whether it's an Outlook. An Outlook might have a higher priority than a cloud utility, right? Same thing down here or over here. This is just the user. Are you sure you want to pause this device? And again, I'll give you an example. Is a crew member brings a brand new iPad on. The iPad, the first thing it does is it syncs with the iCloud, and it doesn't. If there's bandwidth available, it's going to take it. It's just going to take all the bandwidth. So iCloud, syncing pictures, social media, all that stuff that's running in the background is just going to use the bandwidth, and it's difficult to identify the device. You just know that the bandwidth is slow. So in this case, you're able to quickly through what's called deep packet inspection, you can see the device, you can see what the applications are, and then you can pause that device on the network.
Right.
Next slide. Though the previous page was devices, the VLANs are set up on board the vessel. You've got a crew VLAN, you've got an operations and officers VLAN, set different priorities based on the role of the crew member or guest. And in this case, if the owner comes on and the crew, has been on an LTE link, and you want to slow them down or shut them down immediately, you can pause the entire VLAN. The way the software is designed to operate is you've got users, right? Users and IP addresses. So even if they had the password to a owner network or an owner VLAN, that device has been identified by the priority. So what tends to happen on the smaller vessels is somebody's got to play the traffic cop and watch a crew member sign on from the crew network to the owner network because they feel that they've earned the right to use the owner network, right? Which is fine, right? If the captain allows it, but in this case, the software will automatically not allow them to sign into the owner network. The IP address is assigned to the crew network.
Can I just ask a quick question to both of you? It's just like, I understand completely what you're doing, and I think it's great, but is this unique? Is this something that only K4 has, or is this something that is it like a unique solution?
There are solutions. So PepWave allows some control, as well as Curio allows some control. Those are probably the two that we see the most in the marketplace.
Okay. And all the others? And
Yeah, there's a
and if you
few.
don't use any of those, what do you use?
Um, there's a few others that are in the
Yeah.
marketplace that will do this similar feature set, right? The main differentiator between us and them is the fact that the priorities are in place, right?
Okay.
So when I say rate limiters and blockers, the ETO, the captain, has to come in and manage each device independently, or they have to manage the VLAN independently. So what I'm showing you here is essentially what we call a rate limiter or a blocker. In this case, what we're looking at is very similar to a Carrio or a PepWave, right?
Okay.
So the user interface, we have an app. The primary difference here is that the other companies, I have yet to see an app that gives you full control like this. The functionality that I'm showing you is, we should do a real live demo at some point. Whether we can or not, we'll define that. But the steps taken to limit a crew network takes about 3 seconds. You open the app, you pause the crew VLAN, they're off the network. So
I think it would be good, like if we're doing a next session, because obviously we won't be able to do that today, but like to do some to maybe set up like a use case to see like how that actually works, because I think that's what people want to know, right? People want to say like, I've got this app in my hand, this is what I do, what happens. I think we can like probably set up some kind of a use case.
Yep, that'd be great. So
I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah, the feedback I've received.
Go ahead, Mark.
From the various users using the other products. Of course, you get accustomed to it. That's all you want to use because that's all you know. But the ones that have switched over and adopted to this system, they find it a lot easier to use. And that would be the highest point I would like to hit on. And I've used the other systems as well from a integrator standpoint. And I know for a fact that you can just take action by a couple clicks versus going through various different pages to do what we just described.
Fantastic. Cool. I'm going to speed you up a little bit more, Daryl, because I know Daryl can speak about this topic for hours. Because how long have you been doing this?
20 years. Yeah.
I mean, and he's still not finished talking about it. Just imagine.
Go ahead and skip to the next, and we'll do. Lastly here, I think this is one of the last slides here, but this is the homework, right? So again, if you've got an ETO that wants to see more, we provide the data, right? The data is here. You can see the active links, the VSAT's active, the LTE's on standby, or you can see the link status, right? By the link status, mean blue is great, red is bad, blank means it failed, right? So you want that instant gratification of saying, hey, my link is live, my link is good. I know it's not an internet problem. I know to look at my devices. Okay. So in 3 or 5 seconds, you can look at the link, make sure the link is up. You can do the speed test is live. There's constant information on speed test. So the VSAT link is up. It's performing well. The latency is decent, and the speed is performing where it's supposed to be. Now, that's 3 seconds. Now I need to go look at the devices, right? The devices, maybe, you go back to the previous screen, you look at a device. Hey, this device has just consumed a bunch of bandwidth. That's where my speed's going. Very quick, very user-friendly. Next page. Yep, we're done. So I can do a quick screen share if you like, just to kind of go over the user platform. It'll be very similar to what we just viewed, or we can set that up for another opportunity.
Now let's do a little screen share, because obviously there are people that will be using the app, and I think it's interesting to see if the user platform's got like additional functionality. Does it, Mark? Whilst Daryl's setting up.
So if I pull this up here real quick, again, you'll see the dashboard page. The dashboard page gives you the active link, right, and the standby link. Meaning standby is that, as I described earlier, the vessel is departing. In this particular case, these links are down. Okay, so the vessel, if it leaves the marina right now, it's going to go from a hardline connection to the VSAT. What you want to see is green over here as standby links. This particular vessel has got some downlinks. So You can see the VLAN configuration that they've got. This is pretty much a flat network. There's not much going on for control on this boat. So this is a vessel that needs a little bit of work to really maximize our software. Okay. If I'm going to scroll down here, you're going to get the link activity, right? You'll see that, hey, there's some activity, not much to look at there, but you can see the link is up. It's good. This is the last 15 minutes that the link has been running. So let's switch to the last 6 hours, get a little history on the link. We are on a live vessel, so you just have to be a little patient with me. I apologize. Kind of see there that this is activity, right? So you've got, somebody's on the internet, somebody's on the internet, somebody's on the internet. The rest of the link is pretty quiet. Scroll down here, the last 6 hours, you've got a few drops, a few red drops, but for the most part, this link is a nice, stable, solid link for the vessel, right? Let's go into users. Under users, we've got some default VLANs. In this particular case, there's 0 devices that are set up on different VLANs. So again, not the best case scenario to show you guys, but the capabilities are there to have the priorities set for these users. Okay.
It's saying that on this vessel, all the devices are just sharing the VLAN.
That's right. So okay. We'll be on board this vessel tomorrow, actually, to sort out the VLANs, to set the priorities. In this case, right, you can see that they've got different policies. They've got IP addresses. You've got the ability to see what the device is doing. And Apple is a huge concern in the network on all networks. You want to be able to limit the Apple devices. You want to be able to limit the cloud applications. Things like that. So in this case, if we wanted to pause this device, you just come in here and pause the device. It's that simple. Here's the status page. You see the link is up. It's got full duplex service, IP address. If you want to ping the gateway, you can open up the gateway. VSAT, you can access the modem. So from providers, from partners, from dealers that are deploying our services on board vessels, you've got full remote connectivity, remote support. So the vessel could be anywhere in the globe, and the IT contractor, whether that's a third-party subscription-based model that the vessels pay to manage the IT on board, or whether it's an ETO on board the vessel, they've got full access to all of the devices to hit the landing pages, the LTE gateways, or the VSAT modems, etc. One major differentiator for K4 is our US pipe, right? So the US pipe is here. No matter where you are in the world, you enable the US pipe, you've got US IP. But soon to come here, we're going to enable a UK and a France IP. So that user that's got a different client, from maybe it's a US-based boat that's got a French client that wants to watch World Cup, they would enable the French IP. They would get that regional content based on local IP.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So if I want to watch I'm Dutch and I want to watch my Dutch football matches only broadcasted in the Netherlands, I can switch in this case I can't, but if there would be a Dutch IP, I could. Yeah,
so the goal here is to enable several regional IPs. As it stands today, if you were to put the equipment on board right now, we can certainly provide the US IP. I'm going to say, again, that one of the feature sets between us and Brand X is that we're constantly in development. That's in the feature queue. So in the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we're looking to deploy different regional IP addresses.
Wow.
And it applies to multiple sources, right? So right now, by default, it's on LTE and VSAT, and you can enable it for Wi-Fi if you're sitting at the dock and you're in the marina and the crew wants to watch rugby, or something, they can enable the U.S. internet on the shore connection, and it'll run through a U.S. pipe. You've got firewall settings. This is managed by us right now. You tell us what rules you want. By default, we apply several rules. Firewalls in place. We've got cybersecurity covered. If there's anything that you need as an exception, we'll create it. Future release will give a little bit more onboard control of the firewall, but as it stands right now, it's a pretty sticky subject in terms of what you want in and what you want out. So we want to manage that. Let me touch base on one other thing here on policies, right? So policies. This is going to be kind of your priorities, right? Well, these are policies. The priorities are going to fall into this same activity, right? So crew is low, crew is high, based on owner on board type thing. This is just a rate limiter priority. You can establish different priorities just by sliding a bar, right? And then that priority setting means that this device or this VLAN has the highest priority. You can do this by VLAN, or you can do this by device. So in this case, the device, the owner is on board, you're going to give him the highest priority. Crew comes on board, you're going to set them down to a lower priority. And it's that simple. You're done.
It's pretty quick.
Um,
You don't have to put it back to high on this vessel. 4 guys.
Yeah, there's still traffic cop and rule in place. You got to be nice to the ETO. You got to be nice to the captain to
Exactly.
get your stuff back. Another thing on the rule set here real quick is allowing a rule, denying a rule. Again, this is the blocker, right? This is no different than Brand X, but in this case, I would like to say that we have a little bit more control in this case, because if you want to do an application, you want to add iCloud. Okay, so I want to block all iCloud. Done. I'm blocking all iCloud. Okay, now I want to, the crew's figured out how to do a VPN, right? Bypass my rule set. I've just blocked all VPN and proxies. Okay, denied. So now the crew can't get around my rule set. Sorry, guys, but there's got to be some limitations to what the VSAT is built for, and the VSAT's built for owners, right? But again, it's as simple as doing this, right? You can allow that, save it, and you're done. It's very simple. That's about it for live demonstration. I'll close this out and open it up to any kind of questions. I know there's a few questions that the girls had asked, and how accessible are the streaming services? In this case, we touched on it slightly. It was with the US IP. You just enable the US IP with the server on board, whether that's a one box server, one dome, whatever. Once that service is enabled, the vessel will have access to the US IP and streaming services.
I think you answered most of the question, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think you went through it. Like, let me go through it, and maybe like Mark, maybe we can get you to talk a little bit, because
You tired of listening to me, Anno?
Sorry, no, I'm not tired of listening to you. I'm just being polite. That's what we do. I am looking at all the questions, like, how do you prioritize users over others? I think you've shown that. I think how does a vessel watch, asking how you watch next to the hula as it travel to various locations. I guess, Mark, that's the part when it just automatically changes, right, from the channel, correct?
Yes.
Good.
The one question I would like to really define that I haven't yet is, there's one that said, how much does K4 cost? Right. So how much is
that would have been my final question. Do you want to do that now?
Depends. Are you guys tired of listening to me talk? I mean, how much time do we have? But no, I mean, we have some clear differentiators between us and Brand X, and we want to earn your business.
So go for it.
The focus here is that we have a nice software solution. We're give you lots of rules, and we don't take rules away, right? The opportunity is that you can still continue to use your Carrio if you love it. You can still continue to use your PepWave if you love it. We're providing an alternative. If you want to try our alternative, I think you'll like our product and our solution better. But we're not all or none. We're open source. We're not going to restrict you to using only our services. And the flip side of that, if you want to use a server and not use our airtime services, go for it. You know, our server is an application that can be put on board and with your current provider. I think you'll like our services better. And to Anno's point there with price, I mean, the question is, how much do we cost? And because we're a direct satellite operator, we can offer, our standing offer is to beat any match or to beat any price by 20%. If you're interested in saving a few bucks and you want some cutting edge technology that goes on board the vessel, give us a shout, give us a call.
Okay, so you're basically saying that you're challenging people, so like that you are going to be 20% cheaper.
Yes.
So basically, okay, challenge accepted, guys. Any listening? I want to see if he's going to do it. Let him keep me involved as well. If you do so, like, if you want, and Sydney, when we're editing this video, and Shorty, those are my video editors. Let's make sure that this is one of the things that we're going to put into the comments, into the caption, that if you want to challenge Darren and Mark, that they're going to be 20% cheaper than your current solution and better, because that's what they're saying, more user-friendly, better and cheaper. That's the challenge. So you can send in your emails to Daryl and Mark, and they'll just come back with your offers. And if they don't do it, you let me know, and I'll invite them for a second session where they can explain how they couldn't do it. Does it make sense, guys? Can I do that?
Sure. That'd be great. Yes, sir.
We're going to do that. I think that's a nice little caption for people to really watch what we've done, because it's been quite a long session, almost an hour, but that's fine. But I think now that we know that, like, it is to see what is actually on offer, and it is to see what the actual user experience is. So basically, challenge accepted. Lovely. Mark, anything you feel you need to add to this great presentation done by the two of you, and where Daryl has explained it very well? Anything you would like to add to that? Anything that you feel that we still need to highlight or repeat?
No, Daryl did a fine job, explaining and showing the user interface. But of course, as any other application, it should sell itself. So any serious interest that there may be through this webinar, we also invite them to reach out to us, and we'll give them full access to the app for a restricted time, let's say a week or so, and then they can play with it themselves. And we welcome feedback. This is how we have gotten to where we are today. And then one other closing comment I'd like to make. Obviously, software and technology in general is very complex, and making something complex really simple is really what's at the heart of K4. And so we can talk technical all day, all night long. And we welcome anybody that's interested to find out more to reach out to us, because we do this stuff over beer and coffee and you name it, because we just love what we do. And the technology aspect of it, let's face it, it saves us time, right? And so captains, crew, they don't have time to mess with the technology. They want smart technology that takes care of problems right there and then. And I believe that we have the right platform to do just that. And we've proven that with many, many vessels that we have online today, and not a single one leaving because our technology is inferior. So we're looking forward to change this game. And if anyone wants to save time and aggravations around anything to do with connectivity, to please reach out to us.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. I think I enjoy this, because I'm a bit of a semi-tech nerd, and Daryl knows that I like all these kind of things. So I hope everybody watching this to the end. It's been quite a sit, but I believe it's worth our while. And I'm pretty sure that we'll be back for a second round anytime soon. So thank you guys so much for doing this for us. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And I would say have a lovely day in the US. And I'm going out and have a beer. It's end of afternoon here.
That's good. Thanks, on. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Okay, I'm closing this down in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.